TF2 is one of those games that refuses to die, and it's kind of funny because it had its 10th year anniversary or birthday only a few weeks ago, and it really got me thinking, TF2 hasn't dropped its player base that much from day one. I mean, certainly it has, and there's been points where it's practically gone down to zero due to the bot crisis, but that's a whole separate issue. I'll talk about that in a minute. TF2 itself is actually a decently old game. I mean, considering it dropped right around Half-Life 2 and whatnot, and it runs on one of the oldest Valve engines out there. And it's just kind of funny to me how solid of a game it really is for its age. Now, don't get me wrong, it is almost a Battlefront 2 level where the creators have just completely abandoned it altogether. But considering its age, I don't blame that. I've played some pretty damn old games before. I played GoldenEye, was my first ever first-person shooter, and I still casually enjoy games like World at War. Well, there's nothing wrong with old games, but TF2 has really passed the test of time, considering its rivals, games like Overwatch and whatnot, have, cough cough, died, just flat out died. Now, that is a little surprising considering TF2 has a pretty big learning curve. It's not quite to Siege's level, but fundamentally, TF2 is quite simple, but in practice, it gets kind of complicated with all the unique weapons and whatnot. Now, again, in fundamental terms, it is a pretty simple game. Every class has a counter. That being said, that's not usually how it works. There are classes that are incredibly noob-friendly, like Soldier or Pyro, but then there's classes that are incredibly rewarding to get good at, like Sniper or Spy, that you don't see a lot. Now, take this with a grain of salt, considering I only have maybe 10 hours on the game at most, so I'm nowhere near the professional level. And obviously, it is that time of the video where I have to bring up the bot crisis was truly the biggest problem TF2 has faced. I think it actually helped bring more attention to the game because it hit #1 trending on Twitter for a few days, so that's something. The whole Save TF2 thing was about a bunch of bots that would basically raid and spam games and make entire servers unplayable. I never really found that many, but granted, during that time, I wasn't really playing TF2 as much, so that was probably just a me thing. Luckily, it's mostly fixed, and at the very least, the very few that you find in games nowadays, everybody kicks them pretty quickly, so it's nowhere near as big of an issue as it used to be. And I think that just goes to show how resilient this game is. Its player base are made up of literal children that are 11-year-olds and are probably stuck in their mom's basement, and out of 40-year-old men that have been playing this game since it came out and do nothing but that. And I think that makes such a wide and beautiful variety. It's sort of like Prime Fortnite when everybody played it and everybody could play it and everybody knew everything about it. It just makes for such a cool community. And with the low price tag of literally free, there's pretty much no reason not to pick up TF2 and give it a try. Honestly, I understand if you don't like it, but I remember I didn't even know this was a game at first. I watched all the so-and-so videos on YouTube when I was super young. I didn't realize it was a game. I thought it was like some kind of like a movie or just SFM. I really had no idea of the culture behind all of it. But truly, check out this game if you haven't. Try it out. There's no reason not to. And I know I'm beating a dead horse here. There's pretty much no one out there who's watching this video who hasn't played TF2. But as a whole, this game is probably at least an 8.5 out of 10. Besides its just resilience and beautiful community, it's a solid game with solid gameplay. Besides there being a lack of glitches and hackers, it's really just a pretty balanced game, depending on if you're a soldier player or not. And that's about it for this one. I'll see you guys later.